basically to block his balls from being continually sliced over and over again. As we get into the other dream bosses, you're gonna notice that ends up being a pretty redundant motif. For whatever reason, these guys just really suck at guarding low blows. I don't know. Give these guys a protective cup, fuck's sake. The Hollow Knight, in the lower mid-30s, but I honestly wouldn't be against making a case to drop him much lower, arguably even into the low 40s. But I know the only reason a decent fraction of you even clicked on this was to specifically see where I placed this boss and whip out your soapboxes if I so much as positioned him a single hair out of place. So in spite of that, I bumped him up 4 or 5 places just to make you wait a little longer for it. Truth be told, this boss is not only a disappointing final encounter, but he really isn't even meant to be that hard. If you're shooting for the true ending, he's only really there as a gateway boss to the actual final encounter. Plus, you gotta think for a second. You're clashing nails with a zombified, brainless, conscienceless, moralless skeleton, and the most dangerous part about him is the herpes leaking out of his chest. This dude is already on his way out the door for a bundle of reasons. I'd actually be a tad more concerned if he did put up a good fight. This boss doesn't really make sense on multiple levels. Not only do not all 3 of them fight you at once, which is what it seems like they would do if they really wanted to challenge you, but once defeated, word apparently gets out quicker than a rumor at a private high school about some bitch named Victoria sleeping with everyone on the baseball team. Because the minute they accept you as a worthy challenger, every previously hostile Mantis warrior you fought just greets you like a random passerby at a grocery store. The Mantis tribe is a pretty big fucking place, so unless they're keeping a hyper-advanced postal system under wraps somewhere, I don't know how the hell word could have spread that quickly. But, oh yeah, shit, the boss battle. Well, you fight one, and she attacks you with some of the most choreographed and predictable movements you've ever seen, and then you fight 2 of them at once, where the exact same attacks are used, only faster. Just don't get greedy with your attacks and you'll be fine. I wanted to put Zero a little higher up on the ladder, but seeing as how he shares the same glaring weakness with the rest of his Dream Warrior frat brothers in the game, I just couldn't. Slash him in the ass when he gets near you and trigger the second phase, which I call the General Grievous maneuver, where 2 blades become 4, but instead of increasing attack variety, the battle just becomes slightly faster than it was previously. The only annoying part about this fight is that sometimes you forget to look at where he throws the blade, because if you aren't paying attention, that same blade will boomerang itself back around and propel right into your unsuspecting asshole. But that's still all good and fine, because any challenge this fight has to offer is immediately nullified by the cheesable going under the platform technique for a quick heal, and laughing in his ethereal spirit face because he can't do shit about it. How pissed off at someone must you be to devolve into such primal instinct that you literally weaponize your own feces and throw it at your assailant? Well, I tried asking this guy here, but he didn't sit still for more than a half second at a time, so it didn't really seem like he was up for that much conversation. This boss fight really did nothing but give me massive amounts of respect for dung beetles, and how physically built they must be to roll up shit balls larger than they are and toss them around like paper fucking planes. Anticipating the ricochet physics is more difficult to deal with than really anything this guy has in his arsenal. It's like having 3 Marmoos flying around going apeshit, but outside of that, most of his attacks are pretty predictable as the sunrise itself, and getting him down to half health triggers a second battle phase where he... Seriously, just go ahead, guess what he does. Like, please, seriously, just take a guess. Yep, he activates the maximum overdrive and just starts doing everything with a slightly larger sense of urgency. If you can beat his first phase, you can beat his second. I remember the glory days of Hollow Knight where Quick Slash cost 1 notch less, you were considered a god if you beat Vanilla Radiance, and Nosk was the biggest bitch in the whole game. He would literally just run to one side of the arena, screech like he stubbed his toe on the middle platform, and then run to the other side. The Hidden Dreams update did give him some impressive new moves, but that doesn't matter much when he still has a screech that foreshadows every single running attack ever. Not even Nosk's infection attack, where he just stands in the middle of the room and starts flinging his snot everywhere, can reach you so long as you stay ducked under the crevice of this platform. The only wrench in the works is when he launches up to the ceiling and leaks orange globs of cancer onto the arena, and these can and will catch you under that crevice, so don't be whipping out your lawn chair or anything expecting to be safe the entire time. Grimchild and Glowing Womb can still reach him on the ceiling though, so if you want to take the cheese route, then go ahead and lace yourself up with these bad boys and just let them do all the heavy lifting for you. And now for unpopular opinion number 2. The Brooding Moloch, by some unfathomable miracle of God, managed to worm all the way up to my 20s. Not only is the Brooding Moloch a big brooding bitch to even find and get to in the first place, but if you so choose, it can be one of the earliest fights in the game. If you prefer to fight the boss this early on, you can just tell that Mantis Claw to fuck itself by downstriking the spikes with your nail and climbing the wall that way. The downside being none of the nail lengthening charms, or any charms I'd recommend for this fight, you've actually reached yet. The technique here is to ping-pong yourself back and forth to avoid his claws. Pretty much becomes like shooting fish in a barrel with the shotgun. And the fish was already dead. This next one is a tag team fight featuring the Oppal's bigger, more obese cousin-in-laws, but the only thing that makes this fight even somewhat annoying is the fact that there are, in fact, two of them. But as you quickly realize, taking him down past, I think, 60% of his health spawns in a tiny little scythe that's just ooh, woo, nope. No, that's an M. Yep, that's an M. Anyways, I'm gonna have to ask you to hold your dislikes for a second and allow me to justify my... But if your spells are powerful enough, once Quirrell decides to stop window shopping and actually do some fucking work, you can send this card to the graveyard at the cost of only 3 of the Shrieks. Whereas in the Gone Home, the only way to take down his jelly shield of his is to literally knock Boomas into his body. And mind you, that's a fuck of a lot harder than it sounds, because they'll either misfire and head right for your face, or they'll spawn in on the exact opposite end of the arena while you're busy gliding through his dumbass electrified pachinko machine. The Hive Knight boss is your standard sword-wielding warrior with a decent close-range attack variety and a surprisingly deep health pool. Again, Shark Shadow gives you the nice security of being able to just literally run right through him while also doing damage. He's got lunges, he's got exploding balls, and he has an interesting attack where he belches 12 bees into the air. 5 of them realize they forgot their car keys or something, and only 7 of them actually swoop down and attack you. The Hive Knight jumps and bounces around like his ass is made of rubber, which can trick the player into thinking you need to match his speed in order to handle the boss effectively. Oh, he's over there. Guess I gotta slash here. Oh, now he's over there. Gotta dash and make sure now. No, now he's over there. Now he's back there again. Now his sword is in my eye. Ow. And this honestly isn't true. Take things slow and let him come to you. Maybe catch him standing still and get in a few good hits while he's busy vomiting his children into the sky. Hornet's second fight, Hornet Sentinel, is everything the first fight was, only now she has 3 times the HP and 3 times the kill you. This is where I'd remind newcomers to not slack off on those kill or movements. If you really invest enough time into upgrading your nail to a better capacity, that nail of yours will thank you for it, I promise. Don't be like me on my first playthrough and get all your strength from charms and shit, because it just doesn't work as well. And it can really make the health pools of later bosses feel deeper than Mariana's fucking trench. So word to the wise, at least try and look for a few on your way to the Kingdom's Edge. This fight really doesn't have to be that long. During her second phase, she'll begin planting spiky death seeds all over the walls that can sting a little, yes, but like most objects in the game, even the most hazardous of obstacles can be thoroughly countered by the delicate art of smacking it the fuck away from you. There's just something about the tempo of this fight that makes everything really fun. His dive attacks are just easily dodgeable enough for you to fantasize about being Hollow Knight Batman for a couple seconds. He has some fireball attacks that leave you prone to overthinking where they're gonna go, which leads to you headbutting a giant spout of fire like the cognitively deficient idiot you are, and he's even courteous enough to give you an attack that might as well be Grim holding up a cheap cardboard protest sign that reads healing time. There are 2 ways to approach this one. There's either the traditional way that requires a thorough analysis of Grim's moveset, dodging and jumping at the right times, striking and backing off when necessary to avoid his damage, or if you're like me, i.e. a total hopeless bastard, arm yourself with every spell charm in the books, bitch slap that bowing asshole in the face as the fight begins, to turn him into his flame spawner attack, and then just scream into his ass until he asks you to leave. The White Defender is the Dung Defender in his heyday. Hollow Nest honor and glory restored, and with a name that just barely limbos itself under the bar of accidental racism. The White Defender, in a sentence, is no joke. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of a joke, but not. He's averagely difficult. The fight should definitely be taken seriously, but he isn't that far at my list to warrant any sort of grinding or preparation past readjusting my charm build once or twice. But great God almighty, this guy has some energy. Any attempt to heal during the fight might as well be coupled with a sign laced around your left horn that says free ass kicking. Any charm that buffs your strength is worth considering here, because even in his heyday, he still seems to take long pauses in between attacks. The Collector boss must have really had a hard time developing proper finger strength as a kid, because the only way he knows how to open his jaws is to jump 10 feet in the air and throw them on the ground like Andy Samberg. I imagine this boss to just be angrily sorting through his pantry because his stomach is growling for a fucking PB&J, but he forgot where he put his grape preserves. Each jar has the possibility to contain 1 of 3 enemies, either a Vengefly, a Balder, or an asshole, Aspid. This is thoroughly slicing up this jumpy, sugar-high bastard before he leaps back into the ceiling again. Fittingly enough, this is the easiest of the subgroup I call sequel bosses, because they're really nothing more than a sugar-rushed, fine-tuned powerlifter version of their previous selves. This boss is honestly really annoying to fight if you aren't paying attention to all the infected water balloons bouncing all over the walls. They spawn in pretty frequently, and they can swarm you so fast that any attack delays you would have been able to heal through are now spent having to swat away these bastards. So unless you've got a Balder shell where you've been distressed, you can say goodbye to any healing options. He does actually get pretty easily staggered, though. I think it takes like 9 hits, regardless of nail strength, to put him into a stalemate position where he catches his breath for a second or 2. Aside from being faster and his slam attack distributing 6 globs of ew instead of 4, he's pretty much the same. Playing through the Godmaster DLC was a humbling experience. Up to this point, you've spent your entire journey through the kingdom exchanging blows with knights, flying wizards, crystal warriors, and giant bees. You've vanquished dumb beetles, invaded dream spirits, and flushed out an entire mantis tribe with a broken nail. And now Bob Ross over here just enters the building and starts beating your ass with his giant filbert brush. Paintmaster Shio has various assortments of attacks and paints he uses to beat the devil out of you, and paint happy little clouds all over your happy little ass and send you back to your happy little bench like the happy little shithead you happy little are. Once you've memorized his attacks, however, Paintmaster Picasso becomes only a matter of good reaction time and not getting overzealous with how many hits per pause. Again, fellas, just because he's fighting fast and jumping all over the place like an asshole doesn't mean you have to. The God Tamer is really nothing special, aside from being the final enemy in the third and final Colosseum stage. And I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I even thought of this boss to be somewhat difficult for me is because you've already been put through the ringer and a half, and every single patron of the Colosseum has taken turns beating you over the head with their respective weapons. So by the time you've even made it to this fight, you're already coughing up a variety of bodily substances and fighting the allure of unconsciousness. Regardless of any circumstances, make the beast a priority in your fight, because not only can the beast be finished off pretty easily, but if you kill the beast, the rider herself will throw down her weapon like a child that just got asked to give his brother the controller and just not fight you anymore. So as soon as the game allows it, you should already be firing your load right into that fat six-eyed face. I promise there are still some original bosses left somewhere on this list. Not every single boss up to my final spot is going to be a souped up clone of its original. We still got some uncharted ground ahead of us, just be patient. Everything I've told you about not matching the speed the enemy has, I think, has been solid advice up until now. Now I want you to just take that rule book I gave you and jettison that piece of shit. He really does zip around like a dickhead. So any extra inch you can squeeze in on him is, I would say, close to him. Keep the pressure on. He won't even have a chance to show you any of his new idea why. I get the feeling this boss fight might be the breeding grounds for a lot of different clashing opinions, but the good thing is the individual health of any one of the six is one of my favorite expressions of profanity. So as grueling as this fight was, I'm glad that it at least had the courtesy to deliver such sometimes inevitably sends you into the attack of another. Markov. This boss has no right to be this big of a thorn in my ass. His offense comprises of a rotary shield and a poorly put together barrage of needles, all sealed up with a stationary shield spin so drawn out that you could accidentally sneeze and drop your controller and still have enough time to heal when you pick it back up. Markov spends a lot of his time in the air, but it seems like every instance you would have otherwise had an opening, you either get greedy and end up swallowing the needle, or his shield gets in the way. The only for sure way to score a good few hits on him is to catch him staying still during his shield attack, but most of the time you won't even start winding that up until he's 2 pixels away from headbutting the fucking ceiling. Any instance of his vulnerability is taken away by his tendency to fly as far away from you as possible, and this asshole practically dares you to chase after him too. I swear to God, if they had actual voice acting in this game, he'd be throwing rocks at you and calling you a pussy. Oh, and if that sounds hard enough, imagine going against him in the gauntlet and fighting him without a fucking floor. Don't ever let your mother tell you moths can't hurt you, because that moth might just have the power to straight up command the very essence of light itself. The Radiance actually has the most health out of any boss in the vanilla game, being strategically placed that seems to lure you into dodging one attack only to be face fucked by the other. There's usually no less than 2 different attack cycles going on at once, and there's just a lot to pay attention to, in addition to dealing 2 masks of damage per attack. And the stakes are escalated even further because dying here means fighting the Hollow Knight once again just to access the boss. It's exactly the difficulty you'd expect from an in-game boss, but unfortunately, acknowledging that going in doesn't make it any easier. So grab that Shaman Stone and get to work on some spell spamming, because this one's gonna take a while. Nabbing my spot number 4 is the Pure Vessel boss fight, which is the guy that the vanilla Hollow Knight would talk about to his kids when telling stories about how intimidating and badass he used to be. Just hop into the 4th Pantheon in Gods and Glory and bend over as this regal ass-kicking simulator does its work. Most attacks from the Pure Vessel seem to have a lackluster counterpart that was dished out by the Hollow Knight. Pure Vessel summons swords from the ground, while Hollow Knight can only create little infected volcano spouts. Pure Vessel throws daggers at you, whereas Hollow Knight just opens up his chest and ejects lumps of concentrated syphilis from his body. But this is also a Hollow Knight that still has his head screwed on straight, which means less of that weird seppuku action and more backsteps and parries and shit. Despite this dude being tough as steel, the battle actually does feel like it goes by pretty quickly. Turns out wearing him down little by little actually adds up when you have your nail decked out with every single strength upgrade ever. You do have times to heal as long as you're good at basic addition, and by that I mean please don't try to heal 2 masks at a time just because he does double damage. For instance, if you're at 6 masks, healing up to 8 versus only healing up to 7 won't really matter, because you're still gonna die in 4 hits anyway. So just heal 1 at a time and then resume your offense. And if you'd like a nice hearty laugh with your ass-kicking simulator, you need not look any further than the battle with Grey Prince Zote. Zote conquers his opponents with a tried-and-true strategy of, if I don't know what I'm doing, then you sure as shit don't either. And the sad part is, it actually kinda works. Especially if you grind him to the point where he might as well do your entire health bar of damage in a single hit. It takes a special trained eye to identify all of his attacks and actually dodge them properly. Hell, half his moveset is just him falling on his ass and involuntarily creating shockwaves, but the animations blend together so seamlessly that you can barely even tell when he's winding something up. And to top it all off, with little pissant Zote flies that attack you independently of the main boss. This has got to be one of the most condescending fights I've ever been in. He just fumbles around, tripping over his own feet and shit, and just somehow accidentally ends up being one of the hardest bosses in the game. It's taken us a damn long time to stumble across an adversary worthy of the King prefix, but I believe we finally found one. Nightmare King Grim has many fighting advantages over its counterpart, the huge difference being he's actually smart enough to teleport off the arena before he shoots his demonic stalagmites at you. This fight wouldn't be nearly as tough as it were if he didn't rush off like he missed an appointment as soon as every single attack was finished. You were pretty much limited to a single hit per attack, and honestly, that's not even a guarantee. And getting hit once can throw off your entire rhythm as you fall into a downward cascade of sensory overload where you finally just give up and watch the ensuing ass beating. This is a fight where tempo really matters, and if you can find a good dodging rhythm, the only thing you have left to do is master the timing behind when you should attack. Downstrike when he's lunging at you, inch forward to dodge the 4 fire pillars, jump and shadow dash through the bats and hit him with a nail art, and if you're managing even a single hit per attack, trust me, you're doing just about as much as you really can. So, in a sentence, grab a strength charm and just get to work. If you've managed to make it all the way here and fight literally every other boss in the game back to back, you're going to be wrestling with this guy. And Jesus Christ, on a fucking surfboard, this boss has just about every negative thing I've said about all other fights. This dude has it all. Annoying ass teleportation, double damage, swords of revealing light that are spaced out just enough to be the most uncomfortable thing in the world to jump over, projectile attacks written with a code that's literally smarter than you are, topped off with the agonizing anxiety of knowing you will be fighting everything over again if you let her put you up against the ropes. She's got more phases. Molly, these are gonna get really annoying, aren't they? Well, sure as the sunrise itself, that's what happened. The crystallized mound teases that between a rock and a hard place sort of vibe. You can't really afford to dick about or take any breathers because of the mean platform, but you also expect to install your jumps. I'm really glad they resisted the urge to take things too far because this section talks about 2 additional ledges away for needing a fucking Excel sheet just to keep track of all the platforms. It forces almost every turn, jump, and movement to feel like an impulsive decision, which can very easily lead you to making a careless jump straight into a bad platform, and the blowback of that damage will sometimes even knock you into the spikes on the wall behind you. It's just a fun time. It really is. I've never really been part of an AMA, but I feel like if I ever caught one hosted by Team Cherry, I'd probably ask them basic things, like, I don't know, what got them interested in games, how did you meet, where are you from, what blazingly detestable things did their spouses do to them to drive them to put such a huge bit of the platforming segment right before the literal part of the game, just, yeah, just simple stuff. Now, I know what you're thinking, a lot of you are probably looking at this game and asking yourself, Rusty, Jesus Christ on a fucking T-Rex, how are you this good? Can you teach me your ways, your methods of practice that led you to being such an unstoppably dominant force in this game? And to that I can only answer, time and patience, friend, time and patience. The only way to cross such platforming as ludicrously insane as this is to reluctantly grab you balls, channel your inner Mega Man until you either clear it without any trouble or lose a fatal amount of brain matter headbutting the spikes. But in order to elevate yourself to a higher plane of skill, losing such brain matter is required, nay, demanded from you as a player of this game. So yes, if you're new, this maze of deadly carrots and spinach will have you trying to rip your hair out from your chest, but hey, such pain is a necessary evil. It makes you better and it makes you stronger, so just suck it up and deal with it. Getting cold feet right at the end of the delicate flower quest has got to be one of the most uncomfortable sensations in the entire world. I'd hang it right up there with trying to rebound from an awkwardly unfunny joke you told in your circle of friends, or holding in a nuclear-powered atom bomb of a fart during a final exam. It's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. You've taken an entire hour fleshing out the game, planning the quickest, most fuel-efficient route to your unquestionable success, and then you finally remember what's waiting for you at the very end of the journey, which is this shit right here. You dart back out of the room and feverishly hump the surrounding areas of the map, desperately trying to find literally any other way that doesn't require you to to execute such a precise dash across the spikes, but to no avail. You finally come to terms with your inevitable demise, dash, panic halfway through the animation, and involuntarily face-plant into the thorns below, forcing you to put the game away for a week because you can't even look at the color green anymore without being reminded of your catastrophic clusterfuck of an epic fail right at the pivotal moment where the fate of the world rested on your shoulders, and you just sat there and cocked the whole thing up. Way to go, Chief. The Fog Canyon can be a really scary place, much less so once you've acquired the Shadow Dash ability and are able to just disintegrate right through half of the stuff that kills you anyway. But getting to the teacher's archives can sometimes be more annoying than it should be, especially if you have the spatial knowledge of a fucking cat and have trouble estimating the exact distance of your dash. There are sections that require you to leap over exploding bubbles of bright orange death gelatin, and misplacing a single dash can sometimes careen you straight into a face full of explosion. And if you panic, that can sometimes even lead to a feeling of claustrophobia that will, once again, careen you into the next exploding bubble directly to the left of you, resulting in an endless cacophony of explosions and curse words until you finally just sit down the controller and nurture your sanity levels. My personal favorite is when the bubbles are so tightly packed together like pre-canned dollar store sausages that the recoil of hitting one could also send you gliding into the path of another one without you even doing anything. 4 masks of health gone in an instant. I'm gonna call this next maneuver the jitterbug. 1, because, well, this game is about bugs, and 2, because mistiming a single jump means you're jittering all the way down to the next area below. Because I swear to God they placed these ledges with full intent on the player misjudging a jump, and then the ensuing mid-air dance they do as they jiggle themselves left and right forces them to miss the next 17 platforms on the way down, until they inevitably and super efficiently dip themselves in the toxic pool at the very bottom of the map like an acidic Oreo. This sort of platforming is almost kind of ubiquitous in the game, but bar none, the most of that you'll find scaling your way up towards the Colosseum. And sweet Mother Mary in a Baptist church, how can you expect me to beat the Colosseum if I can't even get to it without having a fucking aneurysm? Getting to defocus makes you look like a moron, and I'm going to explain to you why. Looking like an unfinished Super Saiyan animation, I held down this button for I think a full minute until I finally just found the ball. Back to my deep nest guide and resisting the urge to just slap on debug mode and glide up to the fucking fragment myself, I knew for certain I had found one of the areas that I really wanted to put here. I wish I could type out a list of all the conflicting emotions I saw when stepping into this portion of the map and just seeing this in front of me. I felt like a child. I was confused, angry, and I didn't even have any idea why. I wasn't exactly sure what the game wanted me to do here. And then once I actually figured that out, I felt even more hopeless than before. I don't think you can just put on quick slash and spam down strike until you get to the fragment. Nope. How much troubleshooting did they even have to go through to make this work? Traveling upward just fast enough for you to have to pay attention exactly to when you're slashing, but slow enough that spamming the attack even with quick slash will inevitably drop you into the Garpede's mouth in between slashes. Imagine having the patience to program something this intricate. Or hell, imagine just getting out of bed one morning and actually hating yourself this much. What the fucking hell? Guys, I'm just gonna be real. As per my latest boss ring video, I don't think I have to tell you that I've kind of been through the ringer. I spent hours toiling over the fact that I'd never be able to actually beat Absrat and gather the sacred footage of that final ending to prove my dominance. And mind you, being able to flex that hard on the rest of the player base was only barely worth all the headaches it caused. I still have trouble making simple leaps and timing the most basic of jumps, but there's one mask shard located in the hive that I would sooner insert my thumb into the cogs of a motorized winch than bear the humiliation of trying to get some help to break the wall, only to get myself body slammed back to the last bench. By a fucking bee. On the list of shit that I didn't ask for today. The Royal Waterways are complete shit, and I'm not just saying that because it's a sewer level. I'm saying that because this entire biome has got to have some of the most annoying platforming and enemies I've ever had the displeasure of fighting against. Exploding bats, giant pufferfish, sentient cucumbers, carnivorous turnips, flippy flip bastards, or whatever the fuck these are. And the encore, that main and only line of defense is throwing his own shit at you, and yes, I am going to keep making that joke. Who's asking? The whole level looks like a shitty graphic design student accidentally turned the vignette filter all the way up, and now I can only barely see where I'm swinging my nail, and those whip-dick turnips practically wait for your ass to get in the water, because it honestly feels like they only attack you when you're trying to dog paddle your way to a geo deposit or something. And then when they catch you at home, raid my fridge, ransack my apartment, and leave without saying goodbye. But that does nothing to change the inevitable reality 15 some odd years later. If I were in charge, I'd have given this game a war. I started putting